These rare old photographs take us back to a time when America was still being carved out of dust, dreams, and determination. The Old West, a land of pioneers, ranchers, miners, and settlers, where every sunrise brought both hope and danger. Around 1870, a group of settlers poses proudly in front of their modest wooden cabin near Deadwood, South Dakota. Their faces are sun-worn, their clothes patched and faded, yet their eyes gleamed with the unshakable belief that they were part of something bigger than themselves, the building of a nation. Behind them, the Black Hills stretch endlessly, wild, untamed, and filled with promise. In Dodge City, Kansas, a group of lawmen gathers in front of a small saloon in 1883. Among them stands a young Bat Masterson, a gambler turned sheriff. His hand rests casually near his revolver, a reminder that peace in these dusty streets often came at the price of blood. The saloon behind them is alive with laughter, whiskey, and the sound of a piano playing a tune no one remembers today. A photo from 1881, taken in Tombstone, Arizona, captures a group of miners resting after a long day. Their boots are covered in red dust, their shovels leaning against a cart filled with silver ore. Nearby, a lone mule drinks from a wooden trough. The air is dry and heavy, yet the men smile faintly, proud survivors of a land that tested every ounce of their strength. In Montana Territory, a family of ranchers stands by their horse-drawn wagon in 1889. The father, tall and stern, grips a rifle. The mother wears a long calico dress, her baby wrapped tightly in her arms. Behind them stretches the wide-open prairie, dotted with cattle and framed by the distant mountains. Life here was hard. Winters were cruel, summers relentless. But the West had a way of turning ordinary people into legends. A photo from Oregon, taken around 1895, captures a blacksmith at work. Sparks fly from the anvil as he shapes a horseshoe with precision and care. His shop is simple: wooden walls, open roof, and a dirt floor. But it was the heartbeat of every small frontier town. Without men like him, wagons wouldn't roll, horses wouldn't ride, and progress would come to a halt. Captured in 1880, a group of Cherokee women sits quietly near a river in Oklahoma Territory. Their faces show a quiet dignity, a reminder of the deep history that existed long before settlers arrived. They weave baskets from reeds, their hands moving gracefully, continuing traditions passed down for centuries, even as the world around them changed forever. In Fort Worth, Texas, circa 1892, cowboys gather for a photograph after a cattle drive. Their hats tilted, their expressions proud but tired. The smell of dust and sweat lingers in the air. They've spent weeks under open skies, herding thousands of cattle across hundreds of miles. Each scar on their skin tells a story of storms, stampedes, and endless miles of trail that shaped the American spirit. A rare photo taken in 1886 in Santa Fe, New Mexico, shows a group of women standing beside a general store. They wear bonnets and aprons, their hands busy sorting goods and counting coins. For them, the West wasn't just about guns and horses. It was about survival, family, and community. These women built homes, raised children, and kept faith alive in a world that offered little comfort. And in one haunting image from 1890, a lone rider crosses a wooden bridge at sunset in Wyoming. His shadow stretches across the river, the golden light catching the dust that trails behind his horse. No name is written on the back of the photo, only the word endurance, a perfect word to describe every soul who dared to call the Old West home. The Old West was more than gunfights and open ranges. It was the hum of sawmills, the clang of hammers, the scent of leather, and the laughter of children chasing tumbleweeds through dusty streets. Every photograph from this era captures not just faces, but entire worlds frozen in time. In a photograph from 1888, taken in Abilene, Kansas, townspeople gather in front of a new general store. Men in suspenders, women in long skirts, and children barefoot in the dirt. The store's wooden sign reads, "McConnell's Goods and Supplies." For these settlers, this small building was more than a shop. It was the heart of their town. It was where people shared stories, exchanged news, and found comfort in familiar faces. A rare photo from Helena, Montana, around 1890, shows a group of carpenters constructing a church. Wood planks stacked high, hammers ringing through the valley. They worked not for money alone, but for hope, building a place where faith could take root in this new land. Behind them, rolling hills stretched to the horizon, untouched and pure, as if watching silently over their efforts. Meanwhile, in Colorado, around 1883, a photographer captured the inside of a saloon. Men lean over card tables, smoke curling in the lamplight. On the wall hangs a painting of a horse and a calendar marking July 10, 1883. The bartender polishes glasses, while a piano player sits in the corner, lost in a quiet tune. Life in these saloons was raw and loud, yet they were places where cowboys became poets, gamblers became storytellers, and strangers became friends.
A young couple stands proudly in front of their home in Texas, photographed in 1895. Their cabin is small, built from logs and rough timber, but the pride in their eyes says everything. Behind them, a handmade fence, a few chickens, and a single cow. They had little, but they owned it. And in the Old West, ownership meant survival, dignity, and legacy. Captured in 1881, a small schoolhouse in Nebraska Territory shows a group of children posing with their teacher. The girls wear plain cotton dresses, the boys in suspenders and worn boots. The chalkboard behind them reads, "Knowledge is freedom." Most of these children walked miles every morning just to attend class. Their families believed that education was the only thing that could lift them above the struggles of the frontier. A photo from Utah Territory, 1884, shows a post office, a small wooden hut with a single window and a flag waving proudly. Inside, a postmaster sorts letters by candlelight. For settlers separated by hundreds of miles, these letters were lifelines, words from loved ones, news from distant states, sometimes arriving months after being sent. Each envelope carried emotion, hope, and connection in a world that often felt isolated and endless. The streets of Virginia City, Nevada, captured around 1879, are alive with motion. Horse-drawn wagons filled with barrels roll past brick buildings, while miners crowd the sidewalks, boots thick with mud. Signs advertise blacksmith, repairs while you wait, and silver exchange office. The camera catches a moment of progress, a small but growing civilization rising from the dust. A photograph from Kansas Territory, 1865, shows a group of women gathered by a well, drawing water with wooden buckets. Their hands are rough, their faces tired, but they laugh together under the open sky. For them, water wasn't just a necessity, it was life itself. Every drop carried weight, every well a blessing. In a land where drought could mean death, these small acts of labor were heroic. And in one rare image, taken around 1889, A barber shop in Oklahoma City stands as a sign of normal life. 2 chairs, a mirror, and a single light bulb. A man gets his beard trimmed as another waits, reading a newspaper titled The Weekly Pioneer. Even here, in the heart of the wild frontier, men sought dignity, style, and conversation, proof that civilization was finding its way westward, one haircut at a time. These photographs remind us that the West wasn't just a place, it was a test of the human spirit. It was sweat, laughter, and prayer. It was nights under endless stars and mornings filled with new beginnings. Every person who lived through it, farmer, teacher, cowboy, or child, left behind more than dust and wood. They left stories, and those stories are still whispering through these old, rare photos, waiting for us to listen. The story of the Old West cannot be told without the pioneers, men and women who left behind everything they knew to chase the promise of freedom, land, and opportunity. Their faces, captured in fading photographs, still carry the silent courage of that journey. In the late 1960s, a family stands beside their covered wagon on the open plains of Kansas. The father holds the reins of 2 weary oxen, while his wife steadies a small child in her arms. Around them, nothing but endless grass and sky. Their wagon is filled with tools, blankets, and a single Bible. Everything they owned packed into a wooden box on wheels. They were not just travelers, they were dreamers on the edge of a new world. A rare photograph from 1872 shows a line of wagons crossing a shallow river near the foothills of the Rockies. The water is high, the current strong, but no one turns back. Each wagon carries a family, their possessions, and a hope that somewhere beyond the horizon lay a piece of land they could finally call home. It was a time when courage was not a choice, it was survival. In Wyoming Territory, around 1875, a group of railway workers poses proudly in front of the new Union Pacific line. Their clothes are dirty, their faces sunburned, but their smiles are bright. Behind them, steel tracks stretch endlessly toward the horizon, the iron road that would forever change the face of America. The railroad brought goods, people, and news, linking the Wild West with the industrial East. It turned small camps into booming towns and deserts into trading centers. A powerful image from 1883 captures Chinese immigrants working along a railway cut in Nevada. Bent over with shovels in hand, they carved tunnels through mountains and laid tracks across unforgiving terrain. They faced harsh weather, dangerous explosions, and constant discrimination. Yet their labor became the backbone of the transcontinental dream. Their contribution, though often forgotten, shaped the destiny of a nation. Another photo, taken in 1886 near Sacramento, California, shows the celebration of a newly finished bridge. The townspeople have gathered, waving flags, their faces full of pride. Children climb onto wagons to get a better view, while a steam engine stands proudly at the center of the frame, a symbol of progress, speed, and unity. It was no longer just the Old West, it was becoming the connected West. Further north in Montana, a small train depot appears in a photo from 1890. A woman waits with her 2 sons, each clutching a small suitcase. Behind them, the locomotive breathes thick smoke into the sky. The boy's face shows both fear and excitement, the feeling of stepping into an unknown future. The railroad gave people movement. It carried soldiers, merchants, families, and wanderers, binding the country in steel and steam. But not all who journeyed west came by train. In a photo from 1878, a group of prospectors rests beside their mules in the Nevada desert. Their tools are heavy, their eyes tired, yet filled with determination. They came searching for gold, silver, or anything that could turn dust into fortune. Most never found riches, but their grit, their hunger, and their will to endure became part of the American legend.
In another image, a stagecoach stands before a small hotel in Arizona around 1882. The horses are restless, the driver grips the reins, and passengers prepare to board. These journeys were long and dangerous, through mountains, canyons, and bandit country. Yet they connected far-flung communities long before railroads reached them. A ticket on that coach wasn't just a ride, it was an adventure, a risk, a step into the unknown. A remarkable photograph from 1889 captures a telegraph operator in a small wooden station in New Mexico. He leans over the desk, tapping a message that might travel hundreds of miles in minutes. The telegraph was the heartbeat of the frontier. Every click carrying news of births, deaths, sales, or war. For a land that once moved at the pace of horses, it was a leap into the modern age. By the end of the century, the frontier began to fade. The wild spaces were tamed, the railroads stretched coast to coast, and the Great Migration slowed. But in these photographs, the spirit of that era lives on, in every dust-covered boot, every stubborn gaze, and every weathered hand. The pioneers of the Old West didn't just conquer land, they conquered fear. They proved that even in the harshest places, human hope could take root and grow. The cowboy became one of the most enduring symbols of the American West, half legend, half reality. In the faded photographs of the 1880s and 1890s, we can still see the men who shaped that legend. In one photo taken in Texas around 1887, a young cowboy leans against a fence, a lasso hanging loosely in his hand. His hat is tilted, his boots dusty, his gaze calm and fearless. Behind him, a herd of cattle grazes on open land that seems to stretch forever. He doesn't look like a hero, just a worker of the land, but that's what made him one. Another photograph from Kansas, 1889, shows a group of cowboys gathered near a campfire. Tin cups in hand, they talk, laugh, and eat after a long drive. Their horses are tied nearby, resting under the starlit sky. There were no luxuries out here, only the comfort of firelight and friendship. Farther north in Wyoming, a photograph from 1892 shows a woman dressed as a cowboy, hat, boots, and revolver. Her name was Belle, one of many women who broke the rules of the time. She rode horses, roped cattle, and proved that courage had no gender. These were the hidden stories of the frontier, stories of resilience, equality, and quiet rebellion. A saloon scene, captured in Colorado, 1885, shows men crowded around a table, cards in hand, smoke thick in the air. The saloon was more than a place to drink. It was a community center, a courtroom, and sometimes a battlefield. Deals were made here, fights were settled here, and on some nights, dreams were born or destroyed in a single turn of a card. A sheriff poses outside his office in Montana, 1891. His star pinned on his vest catches the sun. His revolver rests at his side. Behind him, a wanted poster flaps gently in the wind. Lawmen like him lived on the edge between order and chaos, men tasked with bringing justice to a land that often had none. Many of them didn't live long, but their courage became part of the myth of the West. In another image from Arizona, 1888, a cowboy rides through a narrow canyon, his shadow stretching long against the rock walls. He rides alone, carrying no flag, no fame, only his sense of duty and freedom. These riders were the backbone of the frontier, the silent keepers of the open range. Every photo tells the same story, The West wasn't easy. It was beautiful, brutal, and honest. The cowboys, the settlers, the miners, and the pioneers didn't live for glory. They lived to endure. And in doing so, they gave birth to a culture of independence, courage, and hard work that still defines America today. The Old West is gone now. The dust settled, the guns silent, the wagons long abandoned. But these photographs remain. They whisper across time, telling stories of men and women who built their lives on faith, sweat, and unshakable determination. A photograph from 1900 shows an old man sitting on his porch in New Mexico. His hands rest on a wooden cane. Behind him, the land stretches far and empty, yet his eyes are peaceful. He had seen the world change, from wagons to railroads, from silence to the sound of machines, and he lived long enough to know that everything built in the West came from sacrifice. Another photo, taken in 1899, shows a group of school children standing proudly in front of a new brick building. Their parents had once lived in tents and cabins, but now there were schools, churches, and towns. Civilization had taken root. The dream of the pioneers had finally become real. These rare old photos remind us that history isn't just written in books. It's etched in faces, in landscapes, in the small moments captured by a camera's lens. Every wrinkle, every stare, every scar tell us who they were, and, in many ways, who we are. The Old West was more than a place in time. It was a spirit, bold, restless, and enduring. It was about believing in tomorrow, even when today felt impossible. And as we look at these photographs of cowboys on horseback, families by their cabins, and children laughing in the dust, we remember that greatness is built, not born. That every comfort we have today began with the struggles of those who came before us. The West may be old, but its lessons are eternal. Work hard, stay strong, and never stop moving toward the horizon. Because somewhere beyond that horizon, just like those pioneers believed, something better always waits.